All right, I hope that exercise gave you some practice with composing, with using bind to partially apply a function, using the clone object function. It gave you some application with some of the things we've talked about in this section. I'm going to do another exercise in the next topic as well. But let's first go through this one. Make sure you're able to accomplish everything we needed to. So first thing I want to do is take care of these two functions. These two functions right here, do ellipse head and do HTML. Right now they have an arity of 2. We want to reduce it to 1 so that we can use it with compose. To compose a function we're going to use with the map method of arrays to run through those. So first thing we do, as I mentioned, we've got to change the way the arguments are listed here. We want the argument that we're going to supply using bind as the first argument. All right. Now that we've got that done, it's a pretty simple thing to just bind this and create a new, more specialized function. And this specialized function is going to default to 20. That's going to be the size of the post heading is 20. So do ellipse head. That's what we want to call with bind. Whoops. Get rid of the parentheses. I don't need those. And then in place of this keyword, we're going to pass in null. Then we want to pass in the length, which is 20. That's going to return a function. So do ellipse 20 will have a function returned that already has a length of 20 bound to it. All right. Now let's do the same thing down here. Let's call this one do HTML head post. So specifically for a post, in this case the post class, and we're going to call do HTML head and bind, pass in null for this keyword, and then the class that we're going to pass in is post, like that. All right. So now we have two functions, this one and this one, that have an arity of 1, which we can now use inside of our compose function. All right. So what we want to do now is create a function using compose that we then can use in a map method. So let me first illustrate the ending results we want to get. So we're going to declare a variable post headings here, and I want to be able to take the post array and use the map method and pass in a function. Let's just call it create post head. Okay, and that's going to return an array into post headings that's going to take the text from each one of these and turn it into a post heading using the do ellipse head 20 and the do HTML head post. All right. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and start setting it up. We're going to set it up with the compose function here. So create post head and set that equal to compose. All right. Now I like to, whenever I'm doing post or compose or pipe, I like to do a return so that I can list these one at a time. Now, what is the first thing we need to do? Well, the first thing that's going to need to be done as we're going through each object in the post array here is we're going to need to clone it. We don't want to start doing anything to the object here. We don't want to take a chance of changing it. Now, because we're just extracting the txt property, this little part right here, this little clone object part here is not necessary really, because we're not going to be changing the object. But what if later on we did want to make a change to the object? So I'm just going to put clone object as the first function that's going to be a part of this compose here. And then I press return, and then I'm going to put the second function. So I'm working from the bottom up. Now, if you wanted to do pipe instead, that's perfectly fine. You could have grabbed a pipe function or created a pipe function on your own and done pipe. But now that we've cloned the object, I need to extract the text. All right. So I'm going to create a new function here. Const, and let's just call extract txt is what I'm going to call it. And basically it's going to receive an object as the parameter, and what it's going to return is obj.txt. All right. So very specialized function here. I could have created a more general function and then use bind again to create a specialized function, but I've just gone ahead and created the specialized function there. And so that's going to do the extract txt. Put a comma after that. All right, now what's the next function? Well, now we can do ellipse head. That's the one we want to, and it's 20. That's one we're going to use. We want the specialized function and the one that only requires a single parameter, and then do HTML head post. And a comma after that. All right, that will compose our function create post head. And then right here, we should be using that with the map method. Because we're using the map method, we're not going to change this array. It will create and return a new array. So we won't affect that array either. And since we're cloning objects, if we were to do anything with those objects, we wouldn't affect the objects inside of the array either. All right, let me go ahead and save that. And let's see how it's working for us. So if I come out here to the console, I'm going to take a look at post headings. I just want to see what we have. And it looks like we have an array, most definitely. And first post, second post, third post. And it looks like it's creating the headings for us. It's putting them inside of the paragraph tags with the class of post. So that worked great for us. There we're able to compose a function that we could use with the map method here. So we're applying a lot of the functional techniques which we've been discussing. All right, let's move on to the next topic.